As suburban homesteaders, there's just no way possible that we're going to be able to. Hi, so I'm here at Blue Moon Blueberries. Wanted to talk about something. As suburban homesteaders, there's just no way possible that we're going to be able to grow all of our own food. We have to rely on local farms like Blue Moon Blueberries to help us to supplement what we can't grow on our own. So we're here picking today so that we can help preserve some locally grown blueberries for the season. So I'm here with my family.
Looking for perfect ones?
So I just learned from another woman that was here picking that this farm has been around for like 50 or 60 years. The owners actually live across the street. It's changed ownerships once, but they have kept this farm going, and we have a big full bucket of blueberries to make jams and maybe even freeze some. Working on preserving that blueberry harvest that we got from the blueberry farm that we visited yesterday. We had this whole bucket full, and I'm turning about half of it into a jam. My family does not eat a lot of sugar, especially my husband and myself, so I am making a monk fruit jam instead of a regular sugar jam. So I feel safe canning this. I've done it before and I've had success, but this is technically considered rubble canning. So you do what you feel comfortable with. You can always make this recipe and then freeze it, but I am going to go ahead and water bath can it. So we're starting with washing 4 cups of blueberries. Now I'm doubling this recipe, so I'm going to be washing 8 cups of blueberries and making sure that you get out any sticks or blueberries that aren't looking good. Then you're going to add 1 cup of monk fruit sweetener, 4 cups of berries. You're also going to add 1/4 cup of lemon juice. Now I didn't have any lemon juice on hand, so I went ahead and added a teaspoon of citric acid. You can use 1 teaspoon in place of 1/4 cup of lemon juice. Add at the end 1 teaspoon of no sugar needed pectin. You can get that on Amazon. I'm not sure, some stores might carry it. So to my pot, I'm going to add I'm doubling, so 8 cups of blueberries, 2 cups of monk fruit sweetener, and 2 teaspoons of citric acid, and we're going to bring that to a boil. Once it comes to a boil that I can't really stir away, we're going to turn the heat down to low and simmer for 20 to 30 minutes. After it simmers for 20 to 30 minutes, we're going to do a test to see the thickness. I have a plate in the freezer, and we're going to put a little spoon of the jam onto the plate and see if it gels. If it doesn't gel, then I'm going to add some pectin to it to make sure that it's thick enough to the consistency that I like. You could always leave it more runny and use it on top of pancakes or something like that, but I'm going to want a full jelly. Well, that jam tastes great, but it is pretty runny still. So I think I'm going to go ahead and add that pectin. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons since I have already doubled my recipe. Once your jam has gelled to the consistency that you would like, you're going to fill it into your jars. I'm using a canning funnel, and we're going to fill it to a 1/4 inch headspace. Make sure that after you fill your jars, you wipe the rims with a damp cloth, and I like to use a little bit of vinegar just in case there's any extra sugar there to make sure that it cuts that out before placing your lids on, and then tighten your rings to just finger tight. I'm going to add just a splash of the white vinegar into the water that we're canning with. That helps prevent that cloudiness that you sometimes see on jars. So after your jars are filled, you're going to place them in a large saucepan that has 1 to 2 inches of water above your jars, and you're going to process them for 10 minutes. You want them boiling for 10 minutes before you remove them from the heat. I like to give it a couple minutes after I've turned the heat off to let them cool down a little bit before I pull them out. And I place a towel or a drying mat on the countertop in a corner where they're not going to have to be disturbed for about 24 hours. And you're going to place them on there to cool down. You should hear the popping, the famous ping that we all love to hear of the jars sealing. If you have any jars that aren't sealing, then you can put those in the refrigerator and use them right away. If they do seal, which you want to remove your rings after your 24-hour period and make sure that that lid is on really tight, and you're going to store them with no lid. That way, if you have a breach in your seal, you know for sure, and you're not going to put yourself at risk. Once they're there, you can keep them on the shelf. Now with monk fruit, they recommend that you only keep them for about 6 months. When you use traditional canning, you can keep them longer, but the monk fruit hasn't been as tested with canning methods. So you do what feels comfortable to you. Another way that I'm going to preserve this blueberry harvest is I'm going to freeze some of these blueberries. I have them washed. I've picked through them for any sticks or ones that aren't quite ripe or not looking great. And then I'm going to, after I've washed them in a colander, I'm going to let them dry on a couple of towels on my countertop before I freeze them on a sheet pan. I'm going to freeze them on the sheet pan, and then I will, after about an hour, I'll pull them out and I'll add them to a baggie. That way they're not all stuck together. Admit, I've had some frustrations with not being able to grow everything that I would love to grow. In fact, even some of the things that I am growing are not growing to the proficiency that I would like. They're not doing as well. I've had some pest pressure, and it can be really frustrating. But Overall, I love this life, and if I'm not learning to work with what I have, then what will I do when I finally am able to get more land and get a bigger homestead? That would be my dream. Not gonna lie, I'm trying to be content where I am, but I would love to have a lot more land, more open pastures, things like that. Right now, my yard is so covered with shade, and it's a frustration. I'm not sure that I have any spot that really would fully be considered full sun, but I'm doing the best that I can, and I'm learning, and each year I'm getting a little bit better. If any of you have any tips on what crops do really well in the shade, please let me know, or at least partial sun, because let me tell you, I'm struggling. I'm just going to be real that I do have a lot of frustrations with things that are not growing as well as I would like. And I really, really want to live this lifestyle of being as food independent as possible. And right now, things are struggling. So I am thankful for local farms, for farmers markets, for friends that let me pick their berry patches, all those things. But I want to be able to do more on my own. So if you have tips for things that grow well in shade or partial shade, please share them down below in the comments. I really need your help. If you like following me on my homesteading journey in a suburban shaded lot, please like, subscribe, share, and comment below. And until next time, blessings.